Lies of P. The surprise hit wonder by Round 8 Studio was an absolute blast playing through, and beyond impressive for the first game by this studio. Overture, its DLC, shadow dropped overnight and took a while to return to, but it absolutely lived up to all expectations I'd have for a DLC. Diving into the past of Krat and returning to the Monad charity disaster offers a chance to further flesh out the setting and experiment with new enemy designs, and oh boy did they get creative. We start out by returning to the Broken Stargazer in Pilgrim's Path, as many assumed we would, with a new item called the Star's Chrysalis, obtained in Chapter 9. Doing this allows us to travel back in time, appearing in Krat during a cold snap, awakening in the snowy forest. As we begin to explore the forest to gather our bearings, we're met with our first returning enemy faction, the Carcass Monsters, including a terrifying bear among them.
So that's interesting. Oh my! Oh!
Most of the animalistic mutants found here are imbued with the new Freeze debuff. Freeze causes poison-like continuous health loss, with the added detriment of slowing your attacks and movements down. We'll see it used fairly regularly throughout the entire DLC, and it's honestly a lot more punishing than the Elden Ring Frost debuff, but I think it's a nice inclusion to shake up combat. After battling our way through the woods, you reach the first major area of Overture, the Krat Zoo. When I started this, Krat Zoo was my favorite area in the DLC, maybe the entire game. Its setting and atmosphere is something uniquely fit to Lies of P's world, and it's a blast to explore. I've since learned you can parry cannonballs in one of the later levels, which might have changed things, but even still. We continue to expand and evolve the idea of what these carcass monsters can be, with new and unique mutant animals with creative designs, and honestly there's really no other Souls-like I can imagine having a mutant zoo as a level. We'll receive our first DLC weapon here, the Royal Hornbow, and see a few of these new Chimera, small and great mutant apes, twisted elephants, kangaroo, and awaiting you at the end, the Tyrannical Predator, a boss which I'm skipping talking about because I don't really have much to say on. It's big and it flails a lot. After the Predator, we move into the greenhouse facility for the next section of the DLC. Shifting from the carcass-type monsters back into puppets, with new interesting athletic combos and, assets, as well as magic ranged attacks you don't usually see in this one, before ending on what I consider the best duo fight in the entire genre, Marchiona, the Puppeteer of Death.
To think I became anxious when told a fearsome foe had arrived. What a fool I was.
Marchiona is a stand user, and it's absolutely badass. This fight is a balancing act of battling between Marchiona and her arch puppet, controlled by the string connected to her hand. The color changes throughout the fight to indicate which one is in attack mode and which one is on the defensive, and this entire fight is a blast. It feels incredibly creative and is easily my favorite part of the DLC.
You dare destroy my sublime creation.
After transitioning through a small carnival, you enter the Zelator facility. This area is another one that really feels like something only this setting could let us explore in the genre. This underground facility is a frozen laboratory full of Alchemist experiments and broken coolers that cover the area with frigid fog until turned off later in the level. Descending down, we end with a fun fight against... Is that the Boomhammer?
Afterlife will freeze here! This is where we die!
In all seriousness, though, Veronique is a fun and incredibly aggressive boss, with an interesting design, and a major step up from the previous Stalker battles in the base game. Her aggression is genuinely insane, though. My first playthrough, I had to fight her bow only just to keep my distance.
I am indomitable! Bear the pain, Veronique! Never surrender!
The Alchemist mines are a return to the relic of Trismegistus found in the ending half of the base game. We descend down the far more active mines of the past with some interesting mining bots and make our way towards the Lost Warrior sealed at the bottom. Along the way, we'll pass our only optional boss of the DLC, a rematch against the Green Swamp Monster, now in its pupil phase of development. The fight's alright, but sticks to the rapid thrashing archetype and is nothing to dwell on for this video. The Warrior, on the other hand, has a fucking stand arrow? A lot of JoJo references this time around. Anyways, the Anguished Guardian of the Ruins is another colossal mutant-style boss, similar to Archbishop Andreas, but this time wielding a colossal arrow with one twisted arm that he can thrust into the ground for insane damage, and a trident in the other. The player's goal is to attack the glowing horn on its head or on its hand to deal significant damage by causing it to break. In its second phase, it acquires powers up, in a manner similar to Simon Manus' ascension to divinity from the base game. In his second phase, he acquires arena-spanning frost powers, like his Arctic Laser. This boss has a crazy design, interesting gimmick, and is an absolute spectacle. A significant improvement over its predecessor. I'm gonna leave that one in there. See who's paying attention. A significant improvement over its predecessor in Archbishop Andreas, in my opinion. But after defeating him, we can flee the mines. After escaping the mines, we reach by far the most surprising area of the DLC, walking out into a beautiful polar cove of old shipwrecks and glaciers with an amazing aurora overhead. This area is not only beautiful, but so drastically different than anything else seen in the game or DLC up to this point, and manages to combine all three enemy factions into the area really well. As the player, you weave between the broken boats and glaciers with hidden pockets to navigate, while dodging the aforementioned cannonballs you can parry that I was talking about earlier, before ending at a lighthouse within a small fishing hamlet. On the way, you'll encounter the second Stalker boss of the DLC, the obvious traitor Lumacchio.
You truly are a nuisance, and in more ways than one. But the games end here!
To me, this fight wasn't as fun as Veronique, or as entertaining. It starts as a duel, mostly relying on your ability to parry, before he succumbs to Alchemist medicine, becoming a beast-like carcass in his second phase.
An elixir of great power, crafted by the most brilliant alchemist as reward for my contributions. Wait. What is happening?
After leaving the fishing hamlet, we finally meet up with the legendary Stalker, and witness the events of the Monad Charity disaster on the lead up to the final boss of the DLC, Arlecchino.
Hey, buddy, see that? Over there. We found it. The Rose Estate.
Arlecchino, the Blood Artist. Or Arlecchino, the King of Riddles, whichever you prefer, who we encounter several times through calls in the base game, before finally meeting them within Simon Manus' Abbey, is the true villain and final boss of the DLC. Upon entering the fight, you can take the narrative choice and help the legendary stalker to her feet for a duo battle, or you can leave her and attempt to solo the boss. When the NPC has a narrative role in the fight like this one, my preference is always to summon them. However, in this case, this does make the fight incredibly easy and not very remarkable or memorable, unfortunately. Though I can't really comment on how the fight feels solo, I've heard some pretty serious glaze, so maybe I'll leave that for you to discover. And I won't take that against the fight, since you can just avoid summoning her.
This is exactly what I've been waiting for! This pain!
If this video hasn't made it clear already, I love this DLC and think it's an absolute 10 out of 10, and I'd really recommend you go out and get it for yourself if you haven't experienced it already. This will kind of conclude this sort of mini review of Overture, and I really hope you all enjoyed, because this is one of my first real long-form edited videos, but I'll catch y'all in the next one. I guess like and subscribe and all that shit. Goodbye. Also, real quick, before we end this, I forgot one more thing. Thank you everyone who has subscribed over the past, 2 months. The channel has been growing so much faster than it ever has before, and we just hit 200 subscribers, so thank you all so much. 500 is next, and maybe we can hit 1K before the end of the year. Peace out, guys.
Share your pain! Show me your truest fear!